the very first episode of a series which I'm going to make, which will help, I guess, a newbie on how to invest. I think part of the reasons why I'm creating this small little series was I had my live a couple of days back, and there was one question. Actually, I got a couple of questions as to how to invest throughout my time in creating this particular YouTube video. So with that, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share with you guys. I'm going to break it down to small series, and or yeah, I want to break it down to small episodes, and throughout the whole episode, we're going to get from step to step, from beginner level, intermediate, and also advanced level. At least that's what I hope lah. Okay. Anyway, with regards to the question on how to start investing, let's start on the very, very basic, right? When we were to Google any literature on how to invest, you will definitely see these four steps. Number one is have a mindset, have a proper mindset on how to invest. Number two is planning. Number three is budgeting. Number four is investing. I mean, a lot of them would always repeat this advice over and over again. But having said that, let me give you some of, I guess, my take on this advice, right? After many years working in the industry, right? So number one, mindset. Um, Back in the day when I first started going towards my journey of investing, one of the reasons why I actually had that energy and also had that drive towards investing was I always had that particular mindset. And I think one powerful story actually stood out for me. And after I've actually heard that particular story, ever since then, it gave me the reason. And once you have strong reasons, right, any resistance would actually be easy to overcome only with strong reasons, right? So the story which I heard and I want to share with everyone today is this. And if you can only take this one story in this particular episode, I think you guys will also be set. So this is a very important story which I'm going to share with you guys. Okay, so right now, for instance, for instance, I come up to you today and I said, what would you prefer? Would you prefer 1 cent, but this 1 cent, I will also lend you one of the best fund managers in the world, and this fund manager can actually double your money on a daily basis, right? So I'll give you 1 cent, but also I will lend you one of the best fund managers in the world to double that 1 cent every day for the next 30 days, right? Or the second option is, would you rather have 3 million ringgit, right? So I tend to ask this question a lot of times, right? Many times, just to actually drive in a point. And it's a mixed bag now, obviously, right? I mean, if you ask me, which would I rather, right? Sometimes there are some days I would rather want a 3 million. I always think to myself, I'm a half decent fund manager. I can actually help invest that particular money. And there are also some days where I would think the 1 cent would be better. But okay, the whole story is, right, if we were to take that 1 cent and double it on a daily basis, by the day 30, that 1 cent will become 5 million ringgit. Let me repeat that again. That 1 cent, if you get the best fund manager in the world to double your money on a daily basis, that money will double, and that money will actually become 5 million ringgit in 30 years, right? So when I heard that story back in the day, right, I was like, yeah, this doesn't quite make sense, right? I mean, what asset class will actually double on a daily basis, right? Until I actually worked in the industry for many years, and I found out what it really meant, what that story really meant. Only when you reach certain hurdles, right, then things will actually make sense to you lah, and it actually made sense to me. So what this story really illustrates is this, right? Um, is this, right? So every time when you get money, right? Uh, that money, if you spend that money, right, you will not be able to compound that money. But if you keep that money and save that money, you'll be able to compound the money, right? So, like I said, mindset, I always had that mindset of remembering that fund manager that can double the money on a daily basis, right? In terms of action, right? This is a very important thing. So, habits are also important. So let's go. So mindset is number one. Second thing is habit, right? So let me tell you a story. During the crisis, I still remembered I couldn't do much. So I sat quite a fair bit. I watched quite a lot of Netflix and I got kind of big, right? And then right now, post the pandemic, right now, I start to run almost every other day. I start to swim. I start to work out, right? And with that habit change, all of a sudden, I started losing weight, right? So just like habits to help gain and also lose weight, there are also habits to enable us to build our wealth, right? And the habits for this, all right, is is what I already said lah. Planning, budgeting, and also investing. So let's break it down even further. One of the reasons why it's important to budget is just the simple reason of living below our means. Only when we live below our means, right, we can save. And that money we save, right, we can invest it. And only by investing, that's where we get our returns. It's a simple thing. But when you read investment textbook, they make it sound like some Greek or whatever. So I really broke it down on the barest of essence, right? Number one, always have the mindset. The mindset will give us a reason to take that action. After we have the reasons to take the action, we build the disciplines or we build the habit. The most important habit is always live below our means. With the money we save, right, we can invest. And that's how money multiplies. Simple as that. Right now, next question is where should one invest in money, right? And I think I already mentioned this many, many times in my previous episodes. I always said invest in yourself. Okay, so for this, let me break it down again, right? When I was very junior, right, I still remembered a lot of my friends back in the day, right? Salary wasn't that high. And back in the day, in my 20s, friends would buy the nicest shirts, branded cars. No, they have the branded shirts, nice cars, a Honda, it's all like a status, where they have all of these things. For me, on the other hand, I feel like I was the El Cheapo or the cheapskates. Uh, Part of the reason why is that my father used to tell me, educate yourself. And most of the times, it didn't quite make sense when I saw all my friends living that life, and at the same time, I was always saving, and always invested in myself. And I still remember there were times I invested in the Edge newspaper. Back then, the Edge was 5 ringgit, but a normal paper cost 1 ringgit. So I will spend 5 times more in terms of my education. And also, I will study for my my CPA, and also my MBA. So the whole thing of it all, right? Back then, I did not understand why I was doing things, right? Until right now, quite recently, I could see myself grow, right? Compared to my other friends, which actually stayed stagnant, right? These guys did not grow, they were very comfortable. And like I said, I went to many, many other things. I also started my own, I guess, my own startup company, right? So I've seen many, many things already, and this is all attributed to investing in myself and growing as a person. Guys that don't grow, they just stay stagnant, right? And unfortunately, right, when we all start, especially in our 20s, right, we can't see. No, there's no difference. So story here is me. I invested in myself a bit, right? Versus some of my friends that didn't invest in themselves at all. And there's one friend of mine, man, he invests in himself a lot, right? So you can actually see the difference. Those which are comfortable are over here. This is me, and these are my friends which are doing ultra successful, right? So, uh, just like habits, to lose weight, if you want to lose weight, eat less, work out more, right? In making wealth, right? Remember this particular thing. Habits to help us is basically living below our means. We have that particular money, we invest that money, right? We can either invest the money into assets, or we can invest that money to ourselves. And for this, like I said, for me, it worked. I invested in myself. And like I said, as I invest more and more money in myself, other I guess employment opportunities open up for me. And then that actually helped my pay, help my, I guess, in terms of my pay grade, my pay raise, right? And I could actually help, or I could actually solve even more difficult problems. And when you can solve more difficult problems, they tend to promote you, right? So simple as that. So as your pay increases, then your I guess your passive your income also increases, and that's where you can actually use that money to buy assets. So yeah, that's it actually in a nutshell. In the next episode, I'm going to talk a little bit about budgeting, about the 50, 30, and 20. That's also very important for anybody that wants to have financial success. But before I end, right? Yeah, I'm going to open it up for any questions before I end. By the way, thanks for the thumbs up, and also thank you for coming in this particular live. I really appreciate you guys coming in, and like I said, like writing a book is like word by word. When you make word by word, you get a paragraph. Paragraph by paragraph, you get a page. Page by page, you get a book. Also, for your successful YouTube video, is video by video, video by video, video by video. Although one needs to be consistent, so I'm reminding myself. So yeah. So any questions before? Yes, compounding is very powerful. Thanks for coming in, my friend, and also thanks for the comments yesterday. Yeah, I really appreciate number one fan. Yeah, you're right. Compounding is actually extremely powerful, right? I think one of the things which I've done is like back in the day, right? There was this thing, and we could actually take a loan to do an ASB, right? To buy ASB, and last time, right? Fresh grad, not much of money, right? I knew the compounding power. I knew that investing was important, but I didn't have enough money, right? So the government actually gave loans to enable us to take ASB, and from there we can actually invest. And what I did was the cost of loans is about 4%, and that at that point in time ASB was paying about 10-15% lah. So the spread, there's this thing where your returns minus your costs, right? So 15 minus 4, you get 11%, right? So for me, yeah, it was one of my first few asset classes which I took. At that point in time, I didn't make that much, and a lot of money which I had, I actually invested in myself. So actually, I had to kind of borrow to actually invest. But for me, ASB is relatively safe. So that's why I actually took that particular asset. And you're right, Alpha. When right now when I'm looking at my ASB, right, I think that's one of the best things I've done. Investing in an asset, investing in myself. Yeah, so these are the things. But back then, I did not know. It was so painful. Sebab, maybe 20 years, maybe 10 or 15 years ago, right? That 1 cent didn't look that much, tau. Didn't look that much. But having said that, that 1 cent, when you compound it on a daily basis, right? Compound, 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 after 15 or 20 years, you can actually see it. And I think point in case is, I actually retired during the whole pandemic for 1.5 to 2 years. Just like, just lepaking lah. So, I had that luxury of retiring. So that was and it all boils down to investing, which I've done much earlier. Unfortunately, there were some of my cousins and my aunties and uncles. They actually, they were asking for money, and that's one of the reasons why I said enough is enough. I want to teach financial literacy to anyone that wants to listen, and that's why I have this channel. Thanks for the comment, by the way. Okay. So any more questions? Okay. Thank you so very much. Thank you so much, Alpha, for coming. Thank you so much for the thumbs up. Thank you so much for the future audience that's going to come for this particular episode. Like I said, I'm going to make this as interactive as possible, and I'm going to make it more organized lah. Oh my gosh, it's like macam really kelang kabut, right? So I think the next live session, I'm going to actually put like a thank you. Yeah, the next live session, I'm going to put like a little reminder or little notification, right? So that we I guess all the other fans can muscle, and we can have a lively discussion. So if you only can take one lesson today, which is this: number one, mindset is very important. Number two is having the right habits. Have these two, we will be set. With that, take care, and I hope to see you guys in the next episode. Good night.